Hello, I'm Dr. Jim Anderson, and this is a recording of the Florida West Coast IEEE sections AI for engineers. Let's take a look, shall we? Fantastic. All right. So it's AI tools for engineers. The what, the how, the where, with a little luck, the when. All right. So what do we want to see here? So the way this works is got to come up with an agenda. I don't want to lose you. We're going to cover a lot of materials. If I don't have an agenda, I apologize. At some point in time, you might feel lost. So right off the bat, we're going to talk about a little bit of background. How did we how did we get here? Okay, so let's see if we can answer that question. Next, we're going to talk about probably the most popular AI tool out there right now, which is ChatGPT, although it can be applied to a lot of other ones. If you're going to use ChatGPT, it turns out that you can customize it so that it knows more about you. And arguably, the more it knows about you, the better answer it can give you for the questions that you might be asking it. Next, we're going to be talking about prompts, what you give to an AI tool so that it can give you information back. It turns out to get the best utilization of an AI tool, you have to be good at giving good prompts. So we'll take a look at some of the different types of prompts that you can give that can give good responses. Then we'll talk about other things you can do with ChatGPT. It's a powerful tool. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. We don't have enough time here to cover all of them, but I'll do my best to cover, let's say, a bunch of them, okay? And then always, I've got one more thing that I want to share with you at the end of tonight's presentation, okay? Let's go. So let's talk about the new reality that we find ourselves living in. Guess what? AI has arrived, okay? There's nothing you can do about that, okay? It turns out in the world of AI, GPT-1, which was created by a company called OpenAI, first showed up way back in June of 2018. It was okay, but it wasn't great. GPT-2 came along, and it turns out it was a lot better. It got released in February of 2019, and they trained it with 1.5 billion parameters. They went all over that internet, grabbed a whole bunch of information. It was a lot better than the very first version. Hey, you'd think they'd be done with it, but no. They released ChatGPT 3 next, okay? And that was in June of 2020. And this time, they said, hey, you like 1.5 billion? They trained it with 1.75 billion parameters with the hope of being able to make it so it could do a better job of communicating to us what in our voice, be able to answer more questions, answer them more thoroughly, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, OpenAI hasn't stopped there. They've released ChatGPT 4 recently in terms of when this video is being made. It's the latest iteration, and of course, it just gets better and better every time they crank out a new version of their tools. We can anticipate as we move into the future that they will continue to make better and better versions of all of those AI tools. Okay, so given that we've got these AI tools, it does bring up the fundamental question is, so what? What are these AI tools good at doing? Good question. Well, fundamentally, they're good at answering questions, right? So customer service is a great place where you can actually apply some of these AI tools, and they're really good at answering customer questions, especially customers who don't know that much about the business, who are just starting to get interested in what the business can do for them, all right? So it does a great job of answering those sorts of questions. Education, not a problem whatsoever. Teachers are struggling a little bit with the arrival of AI because students who are generally cleverer than anybody else can drop homework assignments into an AI tool and poof, it kicks out an answer. So teachers are trying to struggle. AI tools are probably going to be good news for students because it's almost like having an assistant that can help them with whatever subject they're studying, but we still haven't quite figured out the rules for how to use them. Content creation. So if you're a journalist or a copywriter or a content creator, AI tools are great. They can help you brainstorm. They can help you come up with first drafts, et cetera, et cetera. So they help you do things quicker, better, faster. Businesses, hey, hello. Interesting enough, in the world of business, we do a lot of writing. We write emails, we write proposals, we make requests for grants and funding. And it turns out that an AI tool that has seen every email ever created or seen all the grants and proposals that have ever been created is pretty good at helping you put together whatever you're trying to do. Healthcare, once again, collecting information from patients. It does a great job of that. Taking a look at a patient's current situation and trying to figure out what's wrong with them when it knows about all other patients. It can be super helpful to doctors. Okay. We haven't quite cracked this one, making it almost be like a doctor. Not there yet. But, a doctor can use an AI tool to get good suggestions for how to interpret a patient's current situation. And entertainment. Remember, just a little while ago, all those actors out in Hollywood went on strike. And one of the reasons they went on strike was because they were very, very concerned that AI is coming along. And after a while, studios won't need actors, right? They'll be able to just create animated figures, be able to put voice prints of Tom Cruise into them, and poof, you don't need the actors anymore. So once again, entertainment industry is still working out what to do about AI, but it's probably going to have a really big impact on it. So these are just some of the areas, and there's more than just what's on this list. All right. So in the world of AIs, everyone's talking about LLMs. They're using this LLM. They've got a new LLM, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What the heck is an LLM? Great question. An LLM is simply just an acronym for large language model. And it's fundamentally sort of the engine that powers all of these AI tools. So we're going to move it up to 100,000 feet. This isn't going to be detailed, but I just want to give you a quick snapshot of exactly what an LLM does, okay? So let's say you enter a prompt into one of these fabulous and wonderful AI tools. The words that you're actually typing in, the AI tool can't handle. It doesn't know anything about words, okay? All of these computer things, they're all based on numbers, right? So when you type in your words, it has to convert your words into a numeric format. In the fabulous, wonderful world of AI, we refer to these numbers as being tokens. So if we come up with an example here, if you typed in the dog barked, okay? And if prior to doing any of this, we had assigned the number 23 to the word the, 51 to the word dog, and 18 to the word barked, then that's the tokenized version of what you just typed in is going to be 23, 51, and 18. And that's what we're going to give to the AI tool. Okay, so we understand how that works, but how can it talk back to me? Great question. So after that conversion from text to numbers, okay, the number or tokens are then used within the AI tool to figure out what kind of output to give to you. How does it do that? Guess what? Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of computations are going on. So let's consider that to be the magic that's happening, okay? But once the magic's done, okay, what's going to happen is that it's going to say, hey, I need to tell you something. And what I need to tell you is 10, 48, and 6. And let's assume 10 is for the word yes, 48 is for the word it, and 6 is for the word did. And what this all means is that when you typed in the dog barked, fancy AI did a lot of processing on the numbers that you typed in, came back with some other numbers, and it shows you, yes, it did. Pow. That's what an AI tool does from 100,000 feet. How it does it, there's some magic going on there, but that's effectively what's going on. It takes what you type in, turns it into tokens, processes those tokens, and come back and presents you with more tokens. All right. So there's a bunch of different AI tools out there, okay, which puts all of us in a little bit of a quandary. Which one should we use? Great question. No solid answer, but maybe we can give you some guidance. So look, if you want the most advanced AI chatbot out there, it's probably going to be ChatGPT. Okay, OpenAI, the company that does it, does a great job, and they keep cranking out new versions. Okay, and it's of course the most popular one too, right? But there are other alternatives. Okay, if you're a Microsoft fan, okay, Microsoft has their Copilot tool. Okay, interesting enough, Copilot uses ChatGPT. It's back. It uses the latest and greatest version. Right now, ChatGPT for free users are limited to about 15 messages, queries every hour. every 3 hours, I'm sorry. But Copilot's powered by ChatGPT, so you can sort of slide in through the back door, right? Also, Microsoft is trying to make Copilot's responses be more visual, give you some pictures and images and stuff like that. And if you like that, then potentially Copilot is the way that you want to go. Now, this is two options, but of course, there's always a third, and the third's going to be Google. Google has their own tool. Their tool is called Gemini, okay? And it is super fast, okay? And they give it up to you. Just use it all you want, right? Now, the interesting thing about Gemini is they're working it into all those other Google tools that we use every single day. All the workspace tools, YouTube, maps, flights, hotels, et cetera, they're all getting a dose of Gemini, right? And so if you're built into all those Google tools, guess what? Gemini might be the way that you'd want to go. Fantastic. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about optimizing ChatGPT. Okay. So once again, ChatGPT, great tool, no question about that whatsoever. But the question is how can you get the most out of it? So let's talk. Boom. So interesting enough, you can save or rename your conversations. Okay. So what does that actually mean? So your conversations, every single one you have with ChatGPT, it's going to save. Now, it's not going to save them forever and ever, but it's going to save like the last 20, let's say. Each chat begins with a new context window with ChatGPT. That is the amount of information that it can store in its memory before it forgets the start of the conversation. So to get the most out of the conversation, you should try and use each one of the specific tasks or purpose, starting a new thread if you want to discuss or work on a different particular project. You can rename the chat by clicking the three dots that appear to the next to the name in the sidebar and then rename them. So let me go ahead and see if I can do this. So let's just give this a shot for 2 seconds here. And we will go here. And we'll go to my version of ChatGPT, okay? And if let's see, fastest land animal. Okay, so once upon a time I asked it about that, and guess what? It said cheetah. So I can rename that, and I can just say, hey, I'd like to rename that to be no big deal. And in this case, it doesn't really freaking matter or anything like that. But if I said, hey, I know I had a talk with ChatGPT about a cheetah a while ago, wonder where that was, I could look over here and I would find it right off the bat and I'd be good to go. All right. So that was interesting. So what else can we do? Oh, also, I can also remove it. So if you have a conversation, you're like, I don't want to remember that. You can always delete it and stuff like that too. Now, you can customize ChatGPT. It has had custom instructions for a little while now. These are pieces of information that are available to ChatGPT across every chat, and they're going to help direct the responses to who you are, your interests, and your background. Okay. If not, then you're sort of having a generic talk with ChatGPT. Okay. Now, there's two questions it's going to ask you. First off, it's going to be, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? And the second question is, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? Okay. Interesting questions, right? The former is the place to put details such as your line of work, hobbies, or family, and the latter is for specific instructions such as give me full code blocks or talk to me like I'm 5. All right, so this sounds like interesting stuff. Let's see if we can take a look and see how this actually works, shall we? So what am I going to do here? I'm actually going to do a couple of interesting things. I'm going to go up to the top here where my pleasant picture is, and I'm going to say, hey, I'd like to customize it. And it's going to say, hey, fantastic, you'd like to customize it? This is great stuff. So how would you like to customize it? Well, thank you very much. I should tell it a little bit about myself. So I'm making this up, but we'll try it anyway. Boop. So I'm a business in California, United States, selling custom-made sneakers for hikers aged 15 to 35. My products are eco-friendly, made of recycled materials, as well as being waterproof. Prices range between $50 and $150 per pair of shoes. And my target audience loves the outdoors and they're athletic. Cool. So I've described basically who I am. Thank you very much. Right. So there's no problems with that whatsoever. So we're good to go with that. Okay. Now the question is, how do I want ChatGPT to respond to me knowing this about me? Well, I could say, listen, you're a consultant business with SEO experience. Give me all the answers in paragraphs with titles marked in bold. Okay, sounds good. So having told ChatGPT this, what does this actually do for me? Well, now when I have conversations with ChatGPT, it's going to know who I am and what I'm trying to do, and I've told it how I want it to talk to me. So if I say, hey, how should my brand's new e-commerce website look like? And I would say, sorry about that. Uh-oh, give me trendy 2024 advice. Let's do it. Let's see what it comes up with, shall we? Requires a combination of sleek aesthetics, seamless user experience. So it's going to give me, let's say, clean and minimalist design. Sounds like a good idea. Personalized user experience, mobile first design. Welcome to these days. Fast loading times, interactive visual storytelling, sustainable ethical branding, seamless navigation, social proof, dark mode and accessibility, payment flexibility, gamification, security and trust, and SEO and social integration. Those all seem like they're spot on. And it didn't just give me those headers, but also give me a couple bullets between under each one of them. So if I truly was an owner of a business in California who made shoes, this looks like it's good information that I could actually put into use. So the ability to have it know something about me is super important, right? Now, we're going to be doing other stuff, so I probably need to make this go away because otherwise it's going to keep giving me shoe information. So whoop, make that go away. All right, fantastic. That worked out. So let's see what else we got going on here, right? Okay, so memory. So memory allows the users to avoid repeating themselves every time they use chatbot and undergo a more tailored expression. With memory, the chatbot remembers any user-supplied insights that could provide useful. By the way, I've got a pet. I have a cat. If I ask what type of food should I feed my pet, it'll be like, oh, wait, I know you've got a cat. It'll tell me about cat foods. So all I really have to do is once again, go up and click on my little picture of me. It'll say memory, and then it'll say, hey, manage. And then it's going to list all of the things that I've told it about myself. Okay. Which is, of course, a little bit scary. Let's agree on that. But it also gives me the chance to clear memories. So I can wipe ChatGPT's understanding of who I am. Not a problem whatsoever. Once again, it turns it back into a generic tool. So when it responds to me, it'll forget about all the stuff that it knows about me. I might get more generic answers that are less valuable to me. So just one other thing you can do there. I can also do a temporary chat. So worried that it's going to remember everything about me? Wrong way to say it. So I guess I'm having some sort of discussion with it that I don't really want to remember. I don't want it to show up. I don't want anybody who sees my ChatGPT to know that I had that discussion with them or something like that. And we can think about a bunch of different things that we could be talking about that we'd have to be a little bit careful about. We can use temporary chat, okay, which is in the upper left-hand corner. Bring it down. It says temporary chat. And what's going to happen is it's going to have a great discussion with us. And when we're done, boop, it's going to forget all about it. It's like we never had that discussion with it. So if security and privacy is really important to you, temporary chat is an option that you always have available to you in ChatGPT. You can pick a theme. Remember, we do a lot of this on our cell phones. Do we want a light theme or a dark theme? Once again, ChatGPT is cool about it. It says, hey, what do you want to do? You can do light or dark. You do you. Also, I should probably show this. We can come up with custom GPTs. So I'm going to switch over just real quickly because this is actually really sort of a cool thing. So ChatGPT, if you're not careful, it is really generic. And if you'd like to make it super specific to you, thank you very much, you can go over here on the left-hand side and see where it says Explore GPTs. Okay, that's cool. So if you click on that, here's the scoop. They've made a whole bunch of custom versions of ChatGPT that if you're interested in this area, this is a version of ChatGPT you should use because it knows more about these things. Website generator. So it's going to know more about HTML, CSS, and all that web stuff. Write for me. So if you're trying to write some stuff, you want to click on that because it knows more about writing. It's been trained on more writing information, right? Image generator, logo creator, knows all about logos, how big they are, what you want to do with them and stuff like that. A bunch of other stuff like that. I know I scrolled down here a little bit. Write for me. Remember, we do different types of writing. So this is generic. This is humanized, right? Like I'm a human. Copywriting, generating text for videos. Productivity, it goes on and on. What was I looking for? There was one. Fitness, lifestyle, programming. So if you're programming in Python or something like that, you can click on this. Once again, it's been loaded with extra Python information. So any questions that you ask it, the hope is, of course, that it's going to be able to answer specifically about those things. All right, so let's take a peek and see what was the next thing that we wanted to talk about. Interesting enough, there's an advanced voice mode, and it's primarily for use on your mobile phone, okay? But it's very cool because what I do on my phone, of course, is that I can hit the little microphone button and I can tell it what my question is, and then it will give me text back with the response. With advanced voice mode, you can kick that up a notch, okay? So basically what you're able to do is you're able to give it a voice request. Hey, what's the fastest land animal? And then it will give you a voice response back. Hey, it's the cheetah. So there's no typing on your part and there's no reading on your part because it's talking to you. What this means effectively is that you can basically be walking around and having a conversation with ChatGPT about whatever you wanted to get more information on. You don't have to type, you don't have to read. You're speaking and it's speaking back to you. Now, once again, OpenAI is trying to make some money. All right. So, but free users get a monthly preview of about 15 minutes of this particular feature. If you pay up, it's there for you all the time. All right. So cool feature. All right. So let's talk about prompts, shall we? Remember, the key to getting the most out of any AI tool is being able to give it a clear prompt so that it knows what to give back to you. So one of the things that we can use AI tools for is brainstorming. Fantastic, wonderful. So what kind of prompt will we give it to do brainstorming? So just here's an example. Prompt, I need help brainstorming for ideas for something. Can you provide me 10 unique ideas or approaches and then briefly explain each one? Okay, it's sort of like having a person who never runs out of ideas. How cool is that? ChatGPT will come through with ideas to help you. The best part, there's no ads. Plus, ChatGPT suggestions include perhaps things that you have not even considered and can create brand new creative ideas in your brain. All right. So let's see how this brainstorming thing would actually work for us. So if we went here and we said, listen, I'm in the process of doing some brainstorming stuff and I need a little bit of help from you, we'd have to probably come up with hopefully a well-formulated query for it. So I need help brainstorming ideas for a 15-year work anniversary for a friend. Can you provide 2 unique ideas or approaches and then briefly explain each? So a 15-year work anniversary, I have no idea how you would celebrate that. I mean, congratulations, that's an impressive amount of time, but I have no freaking clue how you'd actually go about doing it. So perhaps ChatGPT can help me come up with some creative ideas. Here's one personalized time capsule gift, okay? Second one is an adventure or hobby experience site, knowing who they are and stuff like that. That time capsule one is actually sort of cool because you're sort of celebrating the 15 years that they've been doing the job. Adventure or hobby experience, say, knowing who they are, what they like, and then going ahead and capitalizing on it. Those are both great ideas. I don't know if either one of them would be perfect for the person that you're dealing with and stuff like that, but man, it sure gets the creative juices going, right? So that's actually pretty cool. All right. So what else can we do? So it's all about the prompts that we come up with. Okay, that's cool. Seems like a fair thing to do. So we can learn complex topics, okay? And arguably, this is something that ChatGPT does an excellent job of, right? So I could say, explain something to me as if I was a beginner, a college student, or an expert, provide examples or analogies that help me to understand it better. So we can break down complex topics. It's something else that ChatGPT does an excellent job because it knows everything. You can tailor the prompts, including the words, such as a beginner, college student, or professional, to yield the results of whatever is going to work for you. How much do you know about this topic? And then, okay, give it to me as though I was talking to myself. Regardless of the learning level you choose, you can expect clear and engaging responses. All right, so this is exciting. It gives us a chance potentially to learn something that we might not know. Thank you very much. So let's go see what we can do with it, right? So what we're going to have to do, once again, of course, is we're going to have to come up with some sort of query prompt that's going to be good for this. So let's give this one a shot. Explain quantum computing to me. I'm not sure if I spelled that right, but it doesn't matter. As if I was a beginner, because I don't know the first thing about quantum computing. Provided examples or analogies to help me understand it better. Okay, well, that's cool. Probably should have said, explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old, but that's okay. What is it? Imagine you're a light switch, okay, et cetera, et cetera. Key quantum concepts, okay, give it to me. One of the big ones, of course, is superposition. Superposition and an entanglement. I don't know about them, but I've heard about them, so I know that that actually lists. Why is quantum computing powerful? So why are we even bothering with this? Gives me a couple of examples and analogy, finding a needle in a haystack and finding something in a library. What can it do? Why would we even invest time and energy into it? And apparently cryptography, drug discovery, and optimization is good. And by the way, it's not perfect. There's some limits for what we're doing on now. Not bad. You know, when we started this conversation, I didn't know the first thing about quantum computing. And now I have at least enough that I could probably do pretty well at a cocktail party. So I'll take that as a win right there. Thank you. All right. What next can we do in terms of coming up with having a good conversation with one of these tools? Good question. So let's find out. So we've determined that we can learn complex topics, which is great. So what's the next thing that we want to do? Optimizing productivity. Okay, so basically getting better at doing something or workflows. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Here's the kind of prompt that could cause us to get good responses from one of these AI tools. Help me optimize workflow for something. Suggest tools, strategies, or an AI-assisted solution that could save time or improve quality. Fabulous. To streamline your productivity, we want to use it as sort of an efficiency coach, which you can pay big bucks for, by the way. ChatGPT offers suggestions that you may not have thought of while covering all angles of possibilities. So that's pretty good. Once again, it's thinking big. And when it thinks big, it may think outside the box, right? A prompt like this is especially useful because it breaks down what could feel like a large, overwhelming task into just a series of checklists. So this has got to be cool. So let's give it a shot and see what it would actually look like if we were trying to do it. All right, give it to me. Here we go. So what I'm going to have to do is, of course, come up with the right thing to ask it. Thank you very much. So we'll make sure that it's something super important. Okay, that's the most important thing. Help me optimize my workflow for getting up and out the door in the morning. Suggest tools, strategies, or AI-assisted solutions that could help me save time or improve quality. Man, I do love my sleep, okay? But I still got to get up and go out to work. So how can I balance those two? So interesting. So it says prepare the night before, plan your outfit, pack essentials, do some meal prep. These are all good ideas. There's no question about that whatsoever. Come up with a to-do list, okay, and then go over it. Once the morning happens, I can automate my waking up. I can streamline my hygiene routine. I'll grab something quick for breakfast. I can dress up a little bit. I got to worry about traffic. True. Quick tasks on the go. I can use AI for a virtual assistant, smart home devices, personalized wellness apps. True. And then it gives me 3 time-saving hacks. Not bad. I mean, I didn't realize that my morning routine needed help, but those are arguably all really good suggestions that would save me time, right? So, and you remember that's sort of a made up example, but if you have something else that is a process in your life that you are responsible for, running it through ChatGPT might give you some insights into how you can make it better for you. All right. So just things to consider, perhaps, this is a good way to talk about that. All right, so we're here. So what's next? Ooh, okay, so what we're saying is that we can use ChatGPT to give us some assistance with writing. And arguably, this is another area where ChatGPT really shines. So here's my prompt. I need help writing something, okay? Here's the topic goal. Describe it, and can you create an outline or a first draft for me? Okay, ChatGPT is pretty much a game changer when it comes to writing because it has sort of seen every example of whatever you're trying to write, and it can bring all of that knowledge to helping you create what you're trying to do. You can ask it for like a word count. If you have a limitation, hey, we only want you to limit like 1,000 words or something like that. You can keep it under that limit. And if you use it for content creation for an email, okay, sometimes it can make it more engaging, okay, personalized opening line, clear call to action, all those things we know we're supposed to put into it already, but sometimes we don't actually remember. So this writing thing's interesting, and it looks like it's a big deal as far as what ChatGPT can actually do for us. So I'll tell you what, let's go take a quick peek and let's just see if we can figure out what it can actually help us with. All right, so what we're going to need to be able to do is come up with an ability to ask it for what we want. So I'm pretty sure we can do that. Let's see. I'm thinking I need help writing a best man speech for my male friend who I've known for 10 years and went to college with. We have both worked at the same company for 5 years. Can you create an outline or a first draft for me? Now, let's agree, I'm not really giving ChatGPT a lot of information here about my friend, right? A couple numbers and stuff like that. I could certainly do a better job, but let's see what it can do with the limited information that I gave it, okay? All right. So here's an outline. Okay, that's cool. And a first draft. Okay, so there's going to be an introduction for guests, mentioning your relationship with the groom's character, lighthearted anecdote from college. Okay, cool. Highlight the qualities that make him a great friend and a person. Okay, so that's going to be a good thing to do. Talk about the bride, compliment the bride, share something sweet about the relationship, talk about the couple, the two of them together, reflect on their compatibility, come up with a closing toast, offer wishes for their future, and then raise your glass to the bride and groom. And it sort of here's a draft for the actual text that I could actually use. And remember, I doesn't know the bride's name, doesn't know the groom's name. I could have provided that, could have done a lot of different things, right? That's not bad considering I didn't give it very much information. Note that it was smart enough to mention the bride. So clearly what's happened here is it's gone out on the internet. It's seen a zillion copies of best man speeches, and it pulled all that information in and made mine better than I was getting ready to do by myself. So this is pretty cool stuff. It's a big help. Let's agree on that. I could have done a horrible job of that. So I greatly appreciate its assistance in this matter. All right. Personalized recommendations. Cool. Prompt. Based on my whatever, can you recommend books, movies, strategies, tools, etc.? Explain why they might be a good fit. So this is cool stuff. Sometimes ChatGPT can feel like a true personal assistant, that little robot that's sitting right by you, right? The recommendations are almost always tailored to your needs and often include extra helpful information. All right, so we're willing to give this a shot. Let's see. Ah, man, personal assistant. I'm paying a little extra for this, but that's fine. Let's give it a shot and let's see what it looks like, shall we? All right, so I'm gonna have to come up with a prompt that allows it to give me the information that I want. So here we go. Boom. Based on my enjoyment of action movies, okay, which I do enjoy, can you recommend movies from the 90s and explain to me why they might be a good fit? All right. Well, there's a bunch of movies from the 90s, but I'm not sure which ones are going to. Oh, there we go. Okay. Terminator 2, definitely a very good action movie from the 90s. Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Matrix, Speed, Face Off. And notice it's giving me bullets about why I'm going to like these movies. Total Recall, Leon the Professional, The Rock with Nicolas Cage, GoldenEye. We love those Bond flicks. Point Break. That's not bad. That's 10 movie recommendations. It nailed it, right? And I mean, I just had to be clear about what I actually wanted it to tell me. So that seemed like a really good deal. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what else we can ask it to help us out with. All right, because now now I've got 10 movies I have to sit down and watch, but we'll assume that I actually have more time to do stuff. So let's see what we're going. Problem solving and decision making. All right, something we consider to be very human things, but perhaps it can give me some assistance. Here's my prompt that I would use to get good response from an AI tool. I'm facing something. Can you provide a step-by-step plan to address the issue, including potential risks and how to mitigate them? So one of the reasons you might want to go to ChatGPT for some help with this is because you might not be thinking about the problem clearly. It's going to help you think logically. And if there's any emotion associated with this problem you're trying to solve, obviously it doesn't have the same emotion. So it's going to be able to see the problem clearly. It's not perfect, okay? And if you haven't done a good job describing what's going on, it may come back with solutions that aren't good for you. But if you take a careful look at it, it could potentially get the ball rolling with some ideas, and that could be super helpful to you. So let's take a peek and see what this would actually look like if we went to ChatGPT and said, hey, listen, I need some help with some important decision making. Can you assist me with this? And the answer, of course, is what it's going to tell you is that yes, it can always, of course, assist us with that. Let's see. Now, whatever it is, it's got to be a big problem. It's got to be a critical problem for us. I'm facing a challenge where I want to replace an electrical outlet in my kitchen. Okay, so that's not the world's biggest problem, but okay, it's a problem. Can you provide a step-by-step plan to address the issue, including potential risks and how to mitigate them? I don't want to fry myself, so let's see how that works. Okay, so it says caution. So materials and tools I'm going to need, cool, screwdriver and all that sort of stuff like that. Step-by-step plan. Number one, turn off power. I can't say that that's got to be the best idea. Remove the old outlet, inspect the wiring, make sure you got good wiring and stuff like that. It's telling me about the wires, black, white, and green. Disconnect the wires, install the new outlet, secure the outlet, attach the cover plate, and test the outlet. And it says, whoa, wait, there's some risks. Electrical shocks being the big one, right? And poof, 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 and it's telling me all the things to look for. And interesting enough, it says, if you're unsure or uncomfortable, get a trained electrician to come in and do this project. Good guidance. Not bad. Okay, so I mean, I had to make a decision about how I was going to replace it, and it did basically a pretty good job of telling me how to do that. I'm pretty pleased with that. All right, so I can get good guidance from these AI tools. I mean, this is practical stuff that I can sort of use on a daily basis, so I'm pretty pleased with it. All right, so we're good with that stuff. What else we got? New skills. You know, we are always trying to better ourselves, and the way we do that is we come up with new skills. And if we can use these AI tools to gain new skills, that might help us do it quicker, better, faster. So here's the prompt we could use to get new skills. I want to learn something. Can you create a 30-day learning plan with daily activities or tasks to help me master the basics of it? Okay. It can provide a roadmap tailored to fit your personal goals. And remember, the more you've told ChatGPT about yourself, the better that roadmap could be. The prompt is one that's recommended to users to try when they want a structured plan. And remember, whenever we're doing something new, the question is always whether or not we're going to be able to stay on tack. The chatbot gives you an overview, which can be helpful, and it can allow us to see the big picture. And for those who are actually do get started tackling a new skill, incrementally doing it is a good way, hopefully, to stay motivated. So there's a zillion things we could ask it to do. I mean, if you're into like guitars or something like that, you could say, hey, what I'd really like to do is maybe like learn new chords. Or if you were trying to learn a new language, which I think at some point in time we've all thought about doing or something like that, that would be fantastic and wonderful. But I'll tell you what, let's keep it sort of simple right now. And let's just sort of say, hey, listen, I want to learn to cook. Okay. Can you create a 5-day learning plan with daily activities or tasks to help me learn how to cook? Is that possible? Is that something you can assist me with? And it says, cool, no problem whatsoever. So it's going to go through basically day one is going to be kitchen essentials and knife skills. All right. That seems like that's something sort of important if you're cooking, right? Day two is going to be cooking techniques. Okay. So sauteing, boiling, and roasting. Day three is going to be understanding proteins, basically meats is what we're talking about there. Day four, soups, salads, and sauces. Okay, we got one more day. And day five, let's pull it all together. Let's create a complete meal. So, you know, arguably, if I don't know how to cook, that's a 5-day plan that's definitely going to give me cooking skills. And it seems like a pretty good way to sort of lay it out as far as breaking it into something new that I do each and every day. And if I gave it 15 days or 30 days, I'm sure it could probably do an even more sophisticated plan. All right, so that's working out pretty well. So what else can we get these tools to do for us? Because once again, it sure looks like they can have a positive impact on our life if we know how to talk to them, right? Giving them a prompt that they can understand so they know what we're looking for seems to be a key part of the overall success here. All right, so that was all about prompts. And once again, that is a critical part to having a very good interaction with an AI tool. But of course, there's always other things you can do. So this is sort of a grab bag of things that you can do with AI tools. So one of the keys to a successful AI interaction, of course, is giving it as much information as you can. Okay, good prompts is the key. And of course, you know, a lot of people figure that out. And so guess what? There's a bunch of tools out there that allow us to do that. So let me show you one, which is actually very interesting. Do I have it? Yes. So it's AI for work. Okay, it's the name of this particular tool. Let's go take a quick peek at it. Once again, hats off to the people who put it together because they actually did a very good job on it. Yes. All right, so hopefully, here it is. Whoop. Here's, hopefully you see it on the screen. This is AI for work. And basically what it has is a bunch of categories: education, personal development, public relations, et cetera, et cetera. One area that I get interested in is engineering. So if I go ahead and click on that, give it a moment, we'll go in here. It says, great, what kind of engineer are you? Because there's a whole bunch of different types. If I say I'm an electrical engineer, okay, that's fabulous and wonderful. And so it's great, you're an electrical engineer. What are you trying to do? Well, a bunch of different things. I mean, sort of boring. I don't disagree with that. Create a risk assessment documentation. Okay, great. So I click on that. So what's this tool going to do for me? And this is where things get very interesting. It's going to give me this prompt. And as you look at it, I mean, this goes on and on and on. So what this is a prompt for an electrical engineer who's creating a risk assessment document. And basically, it's going to set up the AI tool so it understands basically who I am, electrical engineer, and what I'm trying to do. And it's going to put some boundaries in there as far as what I'm trying to do and stuff like that. But once I give it this prompt, I'm going to be able to have a very, very good, very, very pointed discussion with it about the document that I'm trying to create because it's super specific. All right. And obviously, you can do it for a whole bunch of other things. So I find this to be a great tool. Remember, all you really have to do is just copy it, drop it into ChatGPT, and then all of a sudden, ChatGPT wants to talk to you about a risk assessments document creation. So that's super handy, and it can do it for sales, marketing, anything that you're trying to do. It has super detailed information. So I find that to be a super great tool. All right, so what else can we do? Well, we can navigate languages. So what do we mean by that? Well, interestingly enough, when we're translating from one language to another, how we do the translation actually matters a lot, okay? And it can be sort of tricky to capture the intent of what somebody's trying to say. Okay, in so much, here's just a quick example. Okay, so in the language Spanish, and I apologize for my pronunciation, ojo, okay, is a word in Spanish that actually means I. And if I go into Google Translate, it's going to translate it. It's going to say that Spanish word means this in English, and it's done. What it's missing in that is any sort of colloquial or slang or anything like that. So let's try this, and we'll run it through ChatGPT as an AI tool, okay? And let's just do a little bit of translating and see what we get. So we'll go to ChatGPT. All right, come on. And then we'll say, listen, I would like to do some translation here. So if I go to it and I say, listen, I'd like to start new. Here we go. Boop. What does Spanish expression ojo mean in English? Okay, great. Let's try it. And once again, it comes off and it says, hey, that means I, okay? But it says, by the way, if you're actually talking to a person who speaks Spanish and they say it, what they probably mean is watch out, be careful, or pay attention, because that's pretty much how the word's used. And it's like, oh, that has a different meaning than Google Translate would have told me about, right? So that can be a super handy thing to do. So we appreciate that. What other things that can we use these fabulous and wonderful tools to do? Well, let's take a peek. So we can go through the languages. So there's a slider extension. I wonder if I'm going to be able to show this to you. I think I am. So let me go see if I can. I know sometimes I have trouble finding it, so I do apologize for that if that's what I end up doing here, but let's give it a shot. Yeah, no, I apologize. It's not installed right now. It used to be there, but okay, no problem. Let me communicate to you what it is, and then perhaps that'll be a better way to actually get this point across. Hopefully, so there's a slider that you can. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a plugin that you can add to Chrome. Okay, and when you do that, what happens is it gives you access actually to multiple AI tools at the same time. So if you have a question, for example, what's the fastest land animal, you can run it through ChatGPT, GPT-4o, Claude 3.5, Gemini 1.5. You can run it through all of them at the same time, and then you can line up their responses and take a look at them. So it's a great tool that gives you access to a whole bunch of AI tools all at once. So it's called Cider, okay, and it's a plugin for Chrome. All right, so check it out. It's actually very, very handy to have. All right, so what next? Summarizing meeting minutes. Okay, so this this is sort of a big deal. So I mean, I'm sure that you've been to meetings before that have been long and droning on and no good and oh my gosh. And if you had meeting minutes, you could always look through the meeting minutes and figure out what was discussed. But man, if there was a long meeting, the meeting minutes are probably long, and who wants to read through all that sort of stuff like that? Interesting enough, in the world of Teams, you can turn on transcribe and it will create meeting minutes automatically from a long, boring minute. So having meeting minutes is a lot more common these days than it ever used to be. If somebody's taking good minutes, that's fabulous, but you might be getting them automatically also. And if you didn't pay attention during the meeting, you really don't want to read through that. So how could you handle this? So that's a great question. And so let's take a look, because I think I've got a good answer for you. So let's just take a quick look here. So our problem is long, boring meetings. So let's take a look here. So we'll go take a look at one of my personal favorites, Senate Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry. Fabulous people. We appreciate everything they're doing. If we take a look at their online records, we'll see what they've done in the latest session. And we'll notice that there's during one of their hearings, they were talking about rural water, modernizing our community water systems. Fantastic. I think that's something great that they're doing. In fact, if we open up the document, we'll see that they took really good minutes from this meeting. Now, the only problem with the meeting minutes that they took is they took like a lot of them. All right. If I really care about modernizing rural water systems, I've got some serious reading to do. I don't got the time to go through all this. Is there a better way? And I'm so pleased that you asked that, because it turns out there is actually a better way. So let's try and ask it and say, yo, ChatGPT, there's this really long, boring meeting minutes. Could you just summarize it for me, man? Could you just tell me the nuts and bolts of it? And what's really cool is it's going to go ahead and it's going to read the whole thing. And then it's going to be smart enough to say, listen, in all those meeting minutes, okay, here are the things that were probably the most important for you, okay? I'm like, oh, okay, that's sort of cool. Now, and I know, the reason that we're reading the meeting minutes is because we're concerned that there's a possibility somebody may have asked us to do something. In other words, there's actions, and those actions potentially have our name on it. So another thing we could ask is, hey, could you show me the actions that came out of that particular meeting, just so that I don't get skewered when my boss comes to me in a week and goes, hey, why didn't you do something? And bam, look at it, went back to the meeting minutes, went through it, and picked out the 6 meeting minutes where they decided to do something after the meeting. It's like, oh, cool. And I can read it and go, hey, do I have to do something? Okay. Is there anything any action that I need to take? Okay. And assuming there isn't, then I'm good to go. All right. So what else can I do with these AI tools? Because there's so much that I can do with it. It gets exciting after a while. Now, so write content like somebody else. Okay, so we've all fired off angry emails and then potentially regretted it later. Okay, so maybe we create emails to try and convince our boss to do something. If we run our text through ChatGPT, we can cause it to change our content and maybe make it more palatable to whoever we're sending it to. So I'll tell you what, let's take a look. I got to come up with a scenario here, but it can't be that hard to do, right? So let me think for just a moment here. Let's say, maybe I've I bought a lawnmower, okay, and the lawnmower is not a good lawnmower. I'm sort of sad about the lawnmower, okay, and so I'm saying I'm right. Let's agree. I'm writing this as an angry customer. Your inability to deliver products on time has caused my project to go off the rails. My lawnmower doesn't work. Everyone is now becoming angry with me, and I think it's all your fault. I don't think that you should remain in business if you're planning on treating all your customers like you've been treating me. If I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't be buying a lawnmower from you. All right, so that's me being angry. And perhaps it's not really the best thing for me to send off because it's not going to get a good response. So what I can do is I can go to ChatGPT and I can say, hey, maybe I could have you rewrite the note as though it was being written by a polite British gentleman. I mean, that's not actually the way I write, but let's give it a shot. So what would it look like? Dear whoever, I regret to inform you that delays in delivering your products have had a significant impact on my project. Unfortunately, this has resulted in frustration among all involved, including myself. I believe that these issues could have been managed better, and I'm concerned about the level of service being provided to customers, which seems unsatisfactory. If I were to reconsider, I might choose a different course of action. I hope that this feedback can help improve your services in the future. Best regards. All right, let's agree that the the anger in my version has been taken out. Okay, so no problems with that whatsoever. I'm not a polite British gentleman, but I'll tell you what, maybe I could rewrite it as though it was being written by Donald Trump. Now that gets sort of interesting. Would we recognize this style? Listen up, folks. Your inability to deliver products on time has really messed up things for my project. Now everyone's getting mad at me. And let's be honest, it's all your fault. I wouldn't be doing business with you if I had to do it all over again. You can't keep treating customers like this. It's not going to cut it. You need to step up your game or you're not going to survive. Sad. It actually sort of sounds like him, actually. So once again, anything that you're writing, you can have it rewritten into a different style. And all you really have to do is just run it through ChatGPT. All right. Pretty powerful tool, actually. Thank you very much. All right. What else? What else can we do with this very, very cool tool? Summarize videos. Now, this is really sort of cool and sort of freaky, actually. So if you find a YouTube video that you really like, but it's really long, you can actually have ChatGPT summarize it. So let's take a look, because I find this to be ever so slightly stunning, actually. So let's take a quick peek. So I've gone onto this website, and it's Joe Rogan, who's a very, very, very popular podcaster. Okay, and on his show he had Elon Musk. Okay, fabulous. They talked for 2.5 hours. I bet that was probably a great discussion, but I don't have 2.5 hours to sit around and listen to them talking. But that's okay, it turns out, because in the modern age in which we live, I can actually go ahead and say, hey, ChatGPT, I was wondering if you could help me out here. Would it at all be possible for you to summarize that video? So I have to give them a link to the video, and I also have to give it the title. It does require that. If I say, hey, go for it. And what happens is it actually apparently has the ability to pull the audio out of the video, then obviously tokenizes it like we talked about it, and then it summarizes concisely what they talked about. So, I mean, that's a paragraph. I could read a paragraph in roughly 30 seconds because I sure as heck didn't have 2.5 hours to listen to their entire YouTube video. That would have been crazy. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I think I got a lot of good information out of that. What else do I have on the table here? All right. Interesting enough, I can learn new things. So it can teach me. If you want to learn something new, you've got a bunch of options. You can always go to Google. We know about that. We've been doing that for years and years, but we can go to ChatGPT now. If we go to ChatGPT, it can provide lots and lots of detailed information. We can ask for more information, or we can ask it to clarify something that we didn't understand. And really, just as long as you've got the right prompt, you're good to go. Okay, so that can actually be a super powerful tool. Physical health, if we have weight or strength or anything like that, it can tell us what we should or shouldn't be eating, create balanced meals for us, track our calories. So this one's actually pretty easy to do. So let me show you this one super fast here. Just, once again, because we all have interests in this area, I think. So let's go ahead and clear that out. So what do I want to do here? So we'll make this one super simple, not a problem whatsoever. So, hey, ChatGPT, create a 2-day meal plan for me that's going to help me lose weight while building muscle. 2 days. I got 2 days I want to be able to pull this off. Great. Day 1 is giving me a breakfast, lunch, dinner. Day 2 is giving me breakfast, lunch, dinner. Even gives me a snack in there. I'm all good to go. And, as long as it's done all that, I can say, hey, okay. If I'm going to follow this, I got to go to the store and get stuff. So it's going to say, hey, here are the proteins you need. Here are the vegetables that you need. dairy, nuts, condiments, boom. It's going to make a complete list. I go to the store, I get that, I come home, I know exactly what to eat, and I know when to eat it. Not bad. I'm healthier and happier because of ChatGPT. Thank you very much. All right. I'm a better person because I'm interacting with AI tools. So I say that's got to be a good thing, right? Um, of course, you can create games using ChatGPT. Trivia games, it's excellent. Say you can say create trivia games based on 80s movies, and it will crank out the questions for you. And it, by the way, it knows the answers. You can have it actually create code for an HTML Pong game, and then you can take that code, load it into another web page, and you can play Pong. And you could say, I'd like to play a D&D adventure game, which is basically place me in a dungeon and then create a whole dungeon, and I'm going to go wandering through it. So there's a lot of different things you can do in terms of games if you've got the extra time. All right. So I promised you one more thing. Okay. Last thing we're going to cover here. And this one is actually sort of interesting. So there's a company called Perplexity. Okay. And they've said, hey, this AI tool thing is very cool, but we'd like to apply it to a very specific task. And that's basically searching. So they've sort of taken Google search and merged it with an AI tool. All right, so it's pretty cool stuff. Let me go ahead and show you what this actually looks like. Well, again, the name is Perplexity. So let me go whip it up here because I think I have it. Boom. All right. So this is it. All right. So what would I want to ask it? Tokyo's 4-day work week. I don't know anything about that. So tell me. Now notice it's showing me the sources. So it's showing me where it got the information that it's using, okay? Gives me an answer, okay? Tokyo's metropolitan government is introducing a 4-day work week system for its employees to begin in April 2025. Tells me about the key features, tells me why they're doing it, give me a little bit of a broader context, potential benefits, and then it gives me like follow-up questions if I want to ask. So this is effectively something I could have asked Google, no problem whatsoever, but Perplexity answers the question for me, shows me the sources in case I want to follow up on any of them, and it gives me key features, objectives, broader context, potential benefits. Does a great job, right? We all know Google search is probably going to change into something like this over time, but the Perplexity guys have gotten there first. So it's at least something to consider if you're doing a fair amount of search on the internet. All right, that's everything that I wanted to cover in the session. So thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. I hope I was able to show you some of the things that you can do with AI tools today, right? And that's sort of the key thing. The tools are there. They're basically sitting there waiting for you to use them. You just have to understand what they are and how you can use them to make your day better. Good luck. Talk to you later now. Bye-bye.